13. Greetings, everybody. Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to the latest episode in the adventures of Telemar the Loremaster as he continues questing in Middle-earth following the epic questline series. We're currently about to kick off Book 4, Chapter 3, The Wisdom of Lord Glorfindel. And the story arc for Chapter 4 is called Chasing Shadows, which is all about hunting down one of the last of the 9 riders who fell at the fords of Brunen, who's roaming through the troll shaws. We have to hunt him down and get rid of him. If you've not already done so, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get updates when I go live with new streams or when the latest videos are available here on the YouTube channel. I do a lot of different things. We're doing Lord of the Rings online cooking videos. I'm reading from Echoes of the Past, Book 1 of the Saga of Lucemia. I'm doing Assassin's Creed Valhalla videos. Going to be doing Cyberpunk 2077 videos and other things here. If that's the type of stuff that you like and you appreciate what I do here on YouTube, make sure to check the links below, go over to Patreon and support there. I'm not a big streamer, so I don't get ad revenue from YouTube, so any support folks can give through Patreon is great, or you can pick up a copy of Echoes of the Past, Book 1 of the Saga of Lucemia. Either one of those ways helps support what I do here at the channel, and it's highly appreciated, so thank you very much in advance, everybody. Alright, right now we're going to get kicking off here. We're going to talk to Lord Glorfindel. We're going to provide him, basically, we found the remains of one of the horses of the Nazgul and one of the bridles, but Eladin, the son of Elrond, is not going to be satisfied until he knows the fate of that Nazgul. So we're here to consult with Glorfindel to see what he has to say.
What do you need?
You are welcome here to Imladus, Telemar. These are times of troubles, but for now, at least, the curtain of shadow is held back and we meet in peace. You bring grievous tidings from Eladin, but they are not entirely unlooked for. I feared that not all of the Nazgul were claimed by the Brunen. This stray servant of the enemy will leave a mark in the wilderness, and he may have already done so. We can use it to track him. I give you my barrel and ask you to hold it aloft at the ford of Brunen. Return to me once you've done so, and we will speak further. Alright, so he's given us a gem that we can use. By the way, I'm going to grab whatever quest he's offering as a follow-up. Glorfindel's company.
Stay a moment.
Word comes to me of a traveler who is living near Lake Evendom. I'd like to send you there. Alright, that's a follow-up quest, which we will take. We will do later. But since we're here, we're going to grab it. But for now, we're going to ride down to the fords of Brunen and use his barrel at the ford and see if we can't track any last vestiges of the evil power of the fallen Nazgul. Now, there are a couple ways you could do this. You could fast travel to Brunen. Excuse me, you could fast travel to Thornhad and then ride down to Brunen. Or we could take the horse from here, the slow horse, to Thornhad and jump off. Either way, we got to go back and forth a bit. Now, if it does help if you've set your bind point here. It could speed up the quest a little bit because you can just recall back here after you've used the gem. I'm not setting my bind point to Rivendell yet until I'm level 40 because I can't fast travel to Rivendell until level 40. I'm keeping my bind point at Esseldine because that's where the Master Woodworker Guild is located, and since I'm working on woodworking, I'm going back there once a day to do my crafting. At the I'm going to be doing the slow ride here. For now, though, we're gonna fast travel to Thornhead, and then we're gonna ride down to the fords from there. This has been a jam-packed stream today. I got to do my favorite quest in the game, following the little sneaky creature Gollum through the troll shaws, and now we're working on the second episode of the book quest. But that's also helpful because, you know, it was also helpful to have gone out and done the leveling first. So because this book series all takes place, I think it's all like level 38 to 40. Yeah, it starts at 37 and the last one is 40. So if you wait till you're 38, you can basically do all of these quests without having to back out and do more leveling. So that did help out a little bit. But I do love the Troll Shaws. I'm going to be sad to leave here, but the Misty Mountains is also a pretty incredible place to quest. I am going to be going there next. I may do some questing in Evendom. I honestly, though, I try to avoid Evendom like the plague, because I've done Evendom so many times before in the past on alts through the launch version of the game. I also try to avoid Angmar. So I try to, you know, I've done the Misty Mountains a couple of times, but I've done Evendom like, you know, a dozen times over the years. So I try to just, I go there as needed, but I try not to quest there if I can, because swimming across the lakes and rivers and everything, there's a reason why that zone is called Ever Swim and not Evendom. Alright. Might as well grab this Levethron since we're here. Can't wait to get into Black Ash. Can't wait to make my staff. I've got a level 40 staff that I'm going to be making soon. Alright. We're now at the fords of Brunen. The Nazgul will deny passage across the Brunen at this crossing. And we can dismount and use Glorfindel's Barrel Stone. You hold the barrel of Glorfindel aloft, and it glows with a pale light. Alright, now we need to return the barrel to Lord Glorfindel. Now you have two options here. You can ride back to Thornhead and swift travel, which is probably the quickest thing to do. I was just looking at the size of the map. I'm like, yeah, it's quicker just to ride back. So we'll ride back to Thornhead and swift travel back to Rivendell. We are getting close to level 40. Level 40 is a landmark level for the Loremaster because you can start dual wielding swords and staves at the same time. Now, back in the day, you used to have to grind the sword and staff deed. Now it's granted to you automatically as a passive. But it's a pretty cool level. Gotta say. Can't wait. And by the time you get to like level 48, it's basically to the point where the last few book quests, you basically don't have to do any more leveling anymore. It's just working on the book quests and doing a lot of running around. And we're going to be working on those throughout the month of December. Probably into January. I don't know if I'll be able to... I might be able to wrap up the entirety of Volume 1 throughout the month of December. We'll see. But we're immediately going to roll from there. I'm having so much fun with this series that I'm going to go ahead and do Moria as well, which is Volume 2. I'm enjoying the series. It's getting views on YouTube. People seem to be enjoying it. So, and then I'm going to be continuing the adventures with my brother on Mondays and Thursdays until such time as he doesn't have time. During the winter time, he has more time, but because he runs a ranch...
What can I do
during his day job and an excavation company. Those two things mean that in the winter months he can't do a lot of work because it's too cold, the ground's frozen. And there's less work to be done with cows in the winter. But once summertime hits, or springtime I should say, He's got to be outside a lot more, and he doesn't always have as much time to game, so we'll see. Traditionally, we usually play Lord of the Rings Online together for 3 to 4 months a year. And we've done that now for... I think we've done it pretty regularly the last 3 years, maybe 4 years. We had a break in there because when I first got him playing Lord of the Rings Online, it was... I think this was the first MMORPG he had ever played. Because it was still when he was young enough, he was still living at my parents' house. So that would have been, I think, 2010? Yeah, it was 2010, like around August of 2010, June, July, August, somewhere in there of 2010 was when I got him started playing Lord of the Rings Online. He would have been 17, I think. Babyface!
What can I do for you?
You have returned, Telemar. Did you notice any change in the barrel I gave you when you arrived at the ford? It began to glow? That is what I expected, and I am glad it was so, for it shall be our means of locating the Nazgul that remains hidden within the wilderness. The Nine, servants of the enemy and shadows beneath his greater shadow, are creatures of such evil that the land cannot bear their presence. This barrel will glow in places where they have been. It will allow us to follow the missing rider's trail.
Might you spare a moment of your time?
I do not often travel into the wild, though I will do so when the need is great, as the ranger Aragorn or his small friend Frodo Baggins could tell you. The sons of Elrond are better suited for directing your search for the missing Nazgul. I leave my barrel in your care for the time being, and ask you to return with it to Aladdin at his camp in Thorinhad. He will know where you should bring it to follow the traces of the Nazgul. Go with speed and with clarity of vision. The barrel will help you find this stray servant of the enemy, but what will you do when you find him, I wonder? So now we are back to Thorinhad again, to talk to Eladin once again. He will be directing us to the next step, which will be Chapter 5 in Book 4. We won't be able to do it in this episode, however, because I still have a 10-minute cooldown on the inspiration buff, and the next quest is a group quest. But that's okay, because it just means we'll save it for a future episode, which we'll not be recording that one today. I'm going to do some crafting after we wrap up these book quests, and then I'll be calling it a morning and going for a run with my wife and heading out to do my other work for the day.
Megovanen.
Alright, back to Thorinhad.
How can I be of
Words,
service?
the words of Lord Glorfindel are most wise, and his gift of this barrel brings me hope that we may be able to regain the trail of this missing Nazgul. You have my thanks, Telemar, but now I must determine where we are to bring the barrel in order to reveal the Nazgul's location.
Might you spare a moment of your time?
I have given some thought to our riddle, Telemar, and while I do not know if this is the answer, my heart tells me that we must exhaust this course before we can be sure if it is fruitless. Many caves dot the wilderness of the Trollshaws, home to the creatures that give this place its name. The missing Nazgul suffered some grievous hurt when caught between the fires of Glorfindel, the ranger Aragorn, and the waters of the Brunen, and he must have escaped to some secluded corner of the wild to regain his strength. I believe he fled to one of the troll caves. I will write down the names and locations of 3 caves. Descend into the deepest chamber of each and hold Glorfindel's barrel aloft. We must learn if the Nazgul hid within one of these caves in order to pick up his trail. Bring allies to these caves, for the trolls that lurk within are dangerous. Here are my notes, Telemar. Obviously, the next step is a series of fellowship adventures. We can't quite do them yet because the inspiration buff is currently on a cooldown, so we will be wrapping up this episode here, covering the last couple of chapters here in the epic book series, chapters 3 and 4. We'll be continuing chapter 5 in an upcoming episode, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you get updates when the next videos are available or when I go live with the various streams that I'm doing. And if you like what you see, I would urge everybody to check out the links below, head over to Patreon, and support via Patreon. I'm not a big streamer, so I don't have a huge following here on YouTube, so I don't get any advertising revenue. But if you like the things that I do, if you like the blog posts that I produce, if you like the Lord of the Rings Online cooking posts that I produce, if you like listening to me read through Book 1 of the Saga of Lucemia Echoes of the Past, you can also pick up a copy of the book. There are several different ways that you can support what I do here on the channel. All of those links can be found below, and I appreciate everybody's support as I continue to expand this channel with all the various things I do and continue working on all the things I enjoy working on. So thanks very much for everybody to following along, and we will see you in the next episode.